Oh yeah, thanks you guys. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on here.
I think it's pretty cool what you guys are doing.
Very good questions and what a lot of research.
This is cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you guys asking me to be a part of this.
That was too cool, bro. And I was between shifts. I'm between shifts right now. I think I'm gonna be between shifts the rest of my life.
Today's guest is a third-generation farmer on the coastside, a staple of local farmers markets and restaurant menus, a guest on Sesame Street, and Farmer of the Year award recipient. Please welcome John Giusti.
Woo!
There we go.
Very excited for this. You've actually been requested a lot as a guest.
Really?
Yeah, specifically Matt Hogan. Matt Hogan was like, get John Giusti on. We're like, we'll try it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was funny. I was trying to build up the balls to call you, honestly, because I'm like, how am I gonna phrase this to just ask him to come onto a podcast? And then I called you, and you're so inviting. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it. It's awesome. Worked out perfect.
I'm proud to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Yeah.
No problem.
All
right. Well, we'll start off easy. What was your childhood like?
I had a great childhood. I grew up here, right here in Half Moon Bay. I was born and raised here. And my father was a farmer, and he farmed on the Johnston Ranch, where we still farm to this day. Things were a little different back then. I was kind of thinking about it. Half Moon Bay was really a farming community back then. The economy was really based on farming. The Florida culture industry was booming back in the 60s and 70s. And I would go to town. They had Granelli and Cooks, where the La Piazza is at now. And I can remember going there. I was a little kid with my father, and I didn't like to go there because he would always stop and talk to people. He'd be there talking for half an hour, and I'd just be sitting there bored as could be. And there was like a bunch of tires and stuff there. I'd be sitting on top of the tires while he's talking to all the other farmers there. But it was kind of a different area in those days, but it was really a nice, cool thing. Everybody knew each other, and it was a real small town atmosphere. The farm was different too. We didn't have a forklift on the farm. I mean, all the hauling of the Brussels sprouts out of the field was all done in gunny sacks, and they would load the truck and then bring it to the packing shed and then unload the gunny sacks. And then at night, all the boxes were loaded onto the trucks. It was all done by hand.
That's exactly what people mean when they talk about ranch strong or farm strong. It doesn't matter.
Is that is like the packing station that you guys have right by Johnson House? Has that changed a whole lot over the years?
It has. It has. The standards were different back in the day. We used to have this old wooden barn there and crates. Now we have all food safety. There can be no wood in the packing shed. All the packing lines now are stainless steel, and they have to get sterilized every night. And back in the day, I think they used to tell people, that's why they tell them, make sure you cook your vegetables real good before you eat them. There was no guarantee they were going to be real clean. But nowadays it's a little different. There's standards are a lot sterner, and we try to.
Yeah,
cool.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What do you remember most about life on the farm as a kid?
I remember going out with my father, just being wide open spaces and having my friends out running around in the fields and going after. We used to hunt and fish and all that. And it was just a great time. Like I said, I remember being, when they were harvesting the Brussels sprouts, my favorite thing to do was to jump on back of the flatbed truck, and the guys would load the sacks on back of the truck. My dad would be there too, loading these sacks up, and I'd sit on top of the sacks, and the drive back into the packing shed was fun. I'd be on top of this mountain of the sacks on back of a flatbed truck.
Yeah, were they strapped down at all, or just
no?
And you're up on top of them.
It was a quarter mile. So, what age did you start really like helping your dad and really working on the farm?
So I actually started prior to high school. I kind of there's this is a funny story. There was where Rite Aid, as it was Thrifties opened up, and they had this clock radio, and I wanted to buy it. It was like $35. And I asked my parents if I could buy it. And they said, no, you got to, if you want to buy it, you got to work for it. And it's like, you know, my dad says, I'll pay you $1 an hour to go out and hoe Brussels sprouts. So
Yeah.
I was probably in Cunha or maybe before. So I went out there and I finally worked up enough money to go buy this clock radio. And something clicked in me. I says, hey, this is kind of, it opened up a feeling of independence that I can work and I don't have to ask my parents for money because this is going to be my money. And they let me buy this clock radio.
Yeah.
And it was really really a kind of a experience that kind of opened me up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I got interested in the farm. I got in high school. I joined FFA. So I was really kind of a farm kid.
Yeah.
You know? And I like that.
Yeah. Now I had a question. Just what land? Because I mean, I'm not gonna obviously name where your property's at, but you know.
Oh, you can name it.
Okay.
The Johnston Ranch is.
Yeah.
we've
Johnston
been there
Ranch,
forever,
and then you got the pond just south of town on the right. You do both sides there, right? Or is Yakupi one side? Right before Purisma.
Oh, Purisma. Yeah, no, we do on the west side there.
Mm-hmm.
And then a little bit further up is where my house is at. It's off of Verde Road. And I do one side, and the other side is by the marshes.
Yeah. Now, what percentage of that land has been in your family for generations?
So my dad started at the Johnston Ranch in 1949. He was 21 years old. There was 2 other farmers that got the lease for that ranch. There were the Bertolucci brothers, and they were looking for a third partner because it was a big piece of property. 1949, you know, the equipment wasn't what it was today, so it took a lot of work. And I think they originally approached my grandfather to join him as a partner. But my grandfather was content where he was working. He says, my son needs a job. My dad tells a story that he never wanted to work on the farm. He wanted to get off of the farm, but he grew up, you know, working, and work was tough back in the day, and he wanted to do something else. But my grandfather, he just said, my father had just gotten married, had a baby, and my grandfather said, no, this is going to be a good opportunity. You're gonna join these guys. So,
wow.
in the spring of 1949, they started at the Johnston Ranch as a partner there.
Wow.
And we're still there
Yeah,
after all these years.
Yeah, little did your grandpa know he transformed the Giusti family.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So after Johnson Ranch, now that you're still there, when did you guys acquire that stuff on the?
Good question. That was in the 80s. We were having to share the water at the Johnston Ranch because the Westinghouse had owned the Johnston Ranch, and they also built the golf course, and they needed the water for the golf course. So our acreage was shrinking, and it was 1984. We got an opportunity at the North Cal Ranch, they call it, down where the big white barn is out on the coast. A lot of coastsiders know that.
Oh yeah,
That's south of town.
Yeah,
and I was in college at the time, and my father kind of came to me and he said, are you sure you want to pursue farming? And I said, I think so. I was a business major at USF, and I knew I did not want to work in an office. My spending time in college and the classroom and all that, my freest time was when I was out in the open. So I didn't want to work. I didn't want an office job. And that's kind of what I was being groomed for at being a business major at USF. So, my father went forward and got the lease for that ranch. And I wasn't out of college yet at that time. And he was trying to handle both ranches at the same time. And I remember saying, hey, you got to hurry up and graduate because I'm drowning. I need help. Yeah. And, I graduated in 1985, and I started there. We got the ranch first in 1984.
Wow.
And
that's awesome. So you guys, and you still
we ended up. My father ended up being able to buy that ranch from Post because Post acquired it, and then they liked what my father was doing there and said, we're going to put in some restrictions and all that, but we want to sell it to you. And it was kind of always a dream of his to own property, and we're always tenants. So it was, we always have 1 foot out the door here at Johnston Ranch. They wanted the people that owned it wanted to build a golf course, and it was planned for urbanization there.
Same with across the highway where, is it Azevedo that does the hay across the highway there?
Yeah.
They wanted to build a golf course there as well.
Yeah.
Crazy.
This whole coast side was supposed to be paved over pretty much.
Golf courses, suburbia.
Bulldoze all the houses, just golf courses. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. Growing up, did you play any sports coming through school?
Not really. I played Little League and a little bit of basketball, but when I got into high school, I kind of got into the FFA thing, and I just went that route.
Awesome.
Having more fun getting off of school and walking around a couple hundred acres.
It was a big deal to me to be able to go to the ranch. I started working with my father on the farm when I was in high school, and I'd spend my summers there working. Not real serious though. Yeah, I wasn't positive that's what I wanted to do, but I kind of liked the look of it. Of being a country kid.
Yeah, definitely.
So you've mentioned before that your dad taught you pretty much everything that you know about farming. What were some of the most important lessons and values that he passed down to you that, you still use today?
Yeah, I remember when I was, it was kind of around the same time when we talked about acquiring that ranch south of town at the Cal Ranch. And he sat me down and he said, farming, he goes, he never wanted to get into it. He was trying to get in as a bricklayer, and he was working in construction, and he just couldn't get steady work. And he said, in the end, here I'm towards the end of my life. He goes, I was really a gratifying way. And he said, one way I'll explain this to you. I've told people this story. It really kind of was profound to me at the time. He said, you start off with farming, you have a blank slate, you have a field. His way he put it was, you have a field of weeds. In the springtime, the winter goes through, and all you have is a blank field of weeds. You have to turn that field of weeds and turn it into a crop out there, and from that you have to turn that into a livelihood for your family. He goes, and at the end of the year, when you harvest that crop and everything else, you started off with a field of weeds, and it's successful. He said, there's nothing more gratifying than that. It's the most gratifying thing in the world is to just take that blank slate and every year and you turn it into your livelihood for your family. He goes, it's just that kind of resonated with me. I thought, wow, that's really kind of cool. So
that is really, it's a really good way of summarizing farming.
Definitely.
Well, farming has been in your blood for 3 generations. Did you always see yourself getting into farming, or did you ever think about going a different route?
Yeah, like I say, when I always thought I'd be a farmer, except for when I went to college, and then I started having second guessing myself. I was talking to some other friends. Oh, I'm going to work for this accounting firm, or one of my friends going to work for the IRS, and all this. And I was thinking,
that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
See you in a couple of years. I'm just kidding.
So anyway, I did think about it. I did a little soul searching. Like I said, I think I told you a little earlier, I think the thing that told me is I don't think I will be happy working in an office all my life. There's a freedom I learned when I was a little kid out there running around in those fields and being out. I can't tame that. I need to be outdoors.
Yeah.
And I do have to work in the office quite a bit more now than being out in the field all the time. I love being in the field to this day. That's my favorite part of the job. But there is a lot of office work too that goes down with it. So we have to spend a lot of time in the office. But that was the only time that I ever really gave it thought about maybe doing something else.
Yeah, when you're getting
And when I was getting a degree, and
yeah, seeing everybody go their own routes.
sure, yeah.
And where did you go to college? And I mean, what was that experience like for you? For one, coming from small town, Half Moon Bay, and also, were you living in Half Moon Bay while you were going to college?
Yeah. So I was living at home, and my plans was I was going to go graduate to high school and go right in to start working on my parents' farm. And my mother came to me and she said, no, you're going to have to go to college. I says, I'm not college material. I don't, there's no way. And she goes, yep. She goes, you have to go at least try it. You have to go a couple of years. And if it's not for you, but you do have to go. So I remember I went to CSM, started, I was a little lost my first year. Second year, I started doing a little better. I majored in business, and I really took interest in business class. It was really interesting to me. And I was watching not many of my friends went to college. I don't think any of them went to college. They all went to work, and they were all working. And I was in college. I said, this college gig isn't too bad after all. I got kind of smart at those days. I kind of be good to be a kid for a couple more years until I got to be out. And I see them; they all had to turn into adults right away.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I said, I'm going to hang out and be a kid for a couple more years. So. Then I made the decision. I shocked everybody. I said, you know what? I think I want to go to a 4-year college. And I think I blew a few people away with that. and I had a good counselor at CSM, and he really encouraged me. He says, your grades are really good, especially in your business classes. He goes, you got an A in this accounting teacher's class. He goes, that guy doesn't give A's.
Yeah.
He goes, you got to really, so he really encouraged me. His name was Mr. Richmond. I don't even know if he's still around or what. He was kind of older in those days, but I give him a lot of credit for encouraging me to go to college.
Yeah, he influenced you.
Yes, yeah. So
definitely.
he was kind of an influence to me, and I ended up going to USF. One of my sisters went to USF, and I kind of was. They had a good basketball program at that time, and then it all went down the tubes. But that was interesting to me. I always rooted for him. So
That's fun.
There you go. Yeah. Well, after going and getting your business degree, when you came back to farming, did that affect the way that you approached farming? Did that change your perspective on anything with farming?
Yeah. I've looked at things a lot. I was. I learned how to read a balance sheet and an income statement, and I was really interested in the numbers part of it.
Mm-hmm. You had a little overhaul for a couple years.
Yeah, so it was actually a good thing for me. I didn't choose to go to a school like I didn't even know if I would have got in, but if I would have went to like Cal Poly and majored in agriculture, but. This really helped me too. I really, really feel like it really opened my eyes up, and I really enjoyed the business classes I took. It was a good experience for me.
Yeah, and it's funny too because you look at a business degree from just a number of colleges, but at the end of the day, it's all pretty much the same shit. It's like you said, balance sheet. It's learning how to just the baseline of running a business, and they have classes that'll provide you with more information, but it's just like just go. Get a basic understanding and then come back. And how was coming back to your dad farming? Were you interested in looking at the books and like
I was
what he was doing with that?
Yeah, and he was totally supportive of it. He loved it. That I was really interested in that, and he was all for it. And I think in 1994 we bought our first computer, and then So that was
one of the first farms with a computer on it.
I was going to say, that's still pretty far ahead of the game.
It doesn't seem like that long ago, 94, but it's back then it was a little cutting edge, on a farm anyway.
Shit, there's people today that are still doing it by hand.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, yeah.
And back in the day, farming on the coast side was not always easy, and especially like in the times when you were growing up. What sort of challenges did you see back in the day? And how did that shape like your approach to farming once you were taking the reins?
Yeah, there's okay. So when farming, the number one challenge every year that I shake at is Mother Nature. She'll take you out in a heartbeat. That's always there with farming. That's always, and that's never changed. It's always been, some years we have good years with the Brussels sprouts. We plant them late in the year, so they're a fall into the winter crop. That's when we're harvesting. And there's been a few years where everything starts up earlier as far as the rains and the wet, and we can't get our crop out because the equipment can't get in there. And, those can be devastating. We've survived them, knock on wood, so far, but that's always a fear going into the year. I've had a lot of labor. Labor could be a big issue. It seems like I kind of figure some things out with labor now. I shouldn't say that. You're always, but we've had a good supply of labor. I've struggled with that though, because, finding people who want to work on a farm is not easy work.
Yeah. Is that a pretty heavy turnover rate for labor?
I've got some people that have been there since I was in high school.
Wow.
And we're about the same age.
Wow.
That's really cool.
They're getting to be old.
That's impressive.
They were like 18 when I was 18. They're still there. They're still with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I got some luck. The turnover's not too bad. Everybody that's been there, and that makes it easier on me because I don't have to train these guys. They know what to do, and just say, hey, we're going to go out and irrigate that field. I don't have to tell them every pipe they have to bring out there. They know how to do it. They can teach me how to do it now. They're better than me.
Yeah, and they know that they probably know the way that you like it as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And awesome. So I gotta say I have a good crew. They've got a really good people. I'm really happy with.
And when you're talking about, harvesting when the fields are wet, I mean, something where I live in Moss Beach and I drive here for work. And so I drive by Carrillo Farms every day. And it's like, they've got a terrible situation when it comes to that.
Oh, it could be wet there too, but yeah. So it depends where he's at in the field. Some spots of his ranch are drier than mine because we're good friends. Yeah. We share our. As soon as it starts raining, we're both on the phone with each other. Misery loves company.
Yeah.
So sometimes he's in a better spot than I am, and sometimes I'm in a better spot than him.
Yeah.
Overall, he's got a pretty good ranch, just right there by the highway that you see. Yeah. It's kind of really wet.
Now, talking to other people that farm, because your network, I'm sure you talk to a lot of people all over the state and whatnot. But do you find that you have a better off here with the foggy climate that we have locally? Does that provide a lot of health to the crops, or does that actually kind of make it harder to farm?
Well, the crops that we grow, just inherent with the area we live in, are more fog loving crops. Mm-hmm. The Brussels sprouts, they cannot take a lot of heat. Sometimes too much fog can bring on other issues with them, though. They get a lot of fungus diseases, and you can get rot and all that. Yeah. And we've seen a little bit of that this year, because this year has been pretty cold. And in my opinion, it's one of the colder ones since I was a kid. This has been a kind of a real cold, wet summer. So today's nice, but there hasn't been enough days like today. Do
you think you're losing more crops this year to kind of that like cold, wet weather issues than in the past?
I had a few issues here with some of my early Brussels sprout fields, with a little bit of more rot than I could see. The good news is that the demand has been really high, so it's like when you have a good demand, they don't care what the product looks like. So, but I see going forward the crop's going to be nice. It's more of a variety thing. I had this wrong variety planted and for the type of weather we had, but I changed into a better variety so
you kind of led me into my next question, but you've lived through quite a big transition in farming. You grew up and it was primarily freeze dried foods and I want to be able to keep them all winter long, whatever. But then now we're experiencing the buy local trend.
Yeah, and fresh.
Yeah, what was it like watching those changes happen as a young farmer? I mean,
yeah,
you watched the freeze dry go into now buy local, buy fresh.
Yeah, so when I first started in the 80s, that we all 90% of what we grew went to the frozen food pack, where they would go like Green Giant and Bird's Eye, where you buy them.
Hungry Man meals.
Yeah, they were frozen, and all our Brussels sprouts we sold. We would pack them in these large 2,000-pound bins. Excuse me.
Wow, that's huge.
These big bins, and we'd send them to and then they would process them at the processing plant, and a lot of them were in Watsonville and Salinas.
Yeah,
and they would process them there and freeze them and put them, for the frozen food industry. And I would say around the 2000s started a trend more of the fresh market Brussels sprouts. I think it was spurred by these varieties were growing or taste better than they used to. So people started discovering Brussels sprouts, and the demand for Brussels sprouts, fresh Brussels sprouts, went way up. And then like some of the chefs on the cooking channel started showing people how to cook them, and the restaurants started using them. I remember back in the day, probably back in the 90s, I was talking to Ron Duarte from Duarte's.
Duarte's, yeah.
And he was telling me, he goes, I would love to have Brussels sprouts as a feature vegetable. But every time we put them on the menu, they always come, nobody eats them. They always come back. And I mean, they had a bad connotation, but the varieties that we had then had a real strong, some people say bitter, real strong flavor to them. And the newer varieties started coming out around the 2000s, better varieties. Now that's kind of what saved my business, because we used to grow a lot of artichokes too. And that industry's changed, and not good for me, because it went from a perennial crop, which I grew, to an annual artichoke crop. And so I went from having about 80 acres of artichokes to right now I have about 8, just for the locals that know the difference between the two.
Yeah.
So
do you know the science behind the smell of the artichoke? Like when you drive past, people are like, oh, they look
the Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, there is a chemical in there. Yeah, and that's part of the people that come up with these varieties. The way they breed the varieties, they tried to lower the amount of this. I should know it better, but I don't know the name of the chemical. But there is a chemical, and that's what gives it that bitter taste, and it kind of gives it the foul smell when they break down.
Yeah. And
they've kind of bred that out of the Brussels sprouts, so they're a lot milder. And then the chefs have learned that if they saute them, they'll almost absorb any flavor. So a lot of the good chefs, you can do a really good job with them, and they absorb whatever flavor. Like some people say, I like them in bacon. Well, who doesn't like bacon? But if you put Brussels sprouts in bacon, they'll absorb that flavor. And
I'm just thinking going to like basketball games in the city and going by David Leia's farm, and they're like, "Oh, Morgan, did you fart?"
And that's like classic. My mom always tells the story of just like when my brother and I were super little and driving by the farm when the fields just got all the rotting stalks in it, and just immediately assuming one of us had a full diaper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of biomass that's out in those fields, and it does, when it breaks down like anything, it does produce an odor.
And then what's your favorite Brussels sprout preparation? Because I'm assuming you eat them a lot.
Yeah, they got real popular to roast them. And if I cook them myself, I like to just saute them in olive oil with maybe some onion and garlic. And if I have leeks, I used to grow leeks put leeks in there with them instead of the onion. Leeks, they're great. Like I just like that. And then maybe put the lid on the to kind of soften them up a little bit.
Are you doing them whole?
I usually cut them in half.
Okay, cut them in half.
I use the
I do
little
the same.
tiny ones, but I think they cook better cut in half.
Yeah.
So if you want to saute them,
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's my favorite way to eat them.
Nice. And I don't know, this is kind of changing gears, but any good Farmers Feud stories from back in the day that have
Farmers Feuds.
yeah, like
Anything fun that you can share.
You know,
long brushed over.
I'm probably a little bit too young for that. There was I think the last real big feuds happened in the drought of the 70s when they had a drought in the mid 70s. And I've heard stories about, water, people cutting off water in the creek ahead of the other farmer. And
Oh my gosh.
and then, so there was some, that was the last real big feuds. Now we're just all trying to huddle together and try to survive.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I had something that before I get into the next question, but we interviewed Eddie Andrini. We talked about this briefly before the episode, but there's a handful of Italian families on the coast side that all stem from a 10-mile radius in Italy.
Yes.
And I think it's Lucca's somewhere in there. Lucca, Italy is somewhere.
Yeah,
in
that's
there.
the main
That's the
city.
epicenter.
There's it's a walled city, and then our families. I think the Andrinis have relatives that came from inside the walls, so you're a blue blood.
That was damn Andrini.
we were a little bit outside of the walls of Italy, but of Lucca.
Yeah.
But our families all came from that. There's a lot of people on the coast side that came from that Lucca area.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because it's like, and talking to you earlier too, we're like, we have no idea if these people were in communication or if they all just ended up getting here.
Yeah. I know they were all friends once they got here, but if they knew each other at the time, I think the people didn't travel very far in those days, so I think they all kind of. And what it was that brought them to Half Moon Bay, everybody from Lucca. So there must have been some talk about Half Moon Bay.
Yeah,
I was telling Gavin that my grandfather actually came here as his second choice. He started in he came to Bakersfield because he had a sister that was living in Bakersfield on a farm. And he went there and he couldn't stand it. and he
Don't
heard
blame him.
Somebody said, hey, one of his friends said, let's go up to San Francisco and see if we can find work up there. So he went to San Francisco, and he seen an advertisement in the paper for a chef or a cook on a ranch. And in those days, this would be the early 1920s, there would be all the ranches had cooks, and they would feed their employees breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That was part of your pay package.
Yeah.
And they were looking for a cook on a ranch, and I think his first ranch was right by where Surfers Beach is at.
Yeah.
And he was a cook there. And the rumor was the reason the job came open was the prior cook, they found him murdered. And they think that somebody came by and wanted food or something, and the guy didn't give it to him, and he got stabbed or whatever.
And your grandpa was like, I'm the man for the job.
Wild West.
Yeah. Seriously.
But the story was, my father told me, he said, my anybody that came around the ranch, if they asked for something, he'd always send them with something. He'd give them something.
Lending something.
Give them food or whatever. Yeah.
Well, a bit of a transition from that, but kind of getting into more of the farmers market. Like how much of your business depends on farmers markets?
Not a big we're kind of different, but it really has been good for my family, my wife. Now my son has kind of gotten into it, and my daughter's doing it too, and my sister does it. So it is definitely a niche part of our business.
Yeah.
It's not
More community based.
Yeah. And that's a really good byproduct of it, is just the community, getting to know the community and letting the community know us, that we're good neighbors to them, and we want to be part of the community, and
definitely.
And I think it's a real good interface with the community, having the farmers market there. And yeah.
And while we're on the topic of family, how did you meet your wife?
I met my wife through a blind date, actually. She
Nice.
was a friend of mine, was dating another friend, a girl that I knew. So I used to bug her. I says, "Hey, you took my friend away from me. I used to go out on the weekends. Now I'm home alone. I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
You have to introduce me to one of your friends." And so she introduced me to my wife Maureen, and it's been bliss ever since.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Well said. Well said.
And how much do you and all of your fellow coastside farmers rely on each other on a seasonal basis, I guess? I mean, is it
quite a bit. It's really a good support group. I have, Dave, you mentioned Dave Leah. He's one of my best friends. And I mean, if something goes wrong on my ranch, I'll call him up and say, "Hey, well, I'm seeing this and everything." And he's 10 years older than me. I probably shouldn't tell everybody that. He looks like he's 10 years younger than me, but he's 10 years older than me, and he's kind of has that little bit more experience. And I really rely on him, and networking with him, and we
Definitely.
Yeah, so we're really close. Yeah.
Two old
And
school
then-
farming families.
And is that like, equipment breaks down, and if there's an opportunity to let one of yours go, you could.
We do that too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really cool.
Yeah. No, we help each other out as much as possible.
Yeah.
I'm out of something I use on the farm. I'll call him up and he's like, "Hey, can I borrow this from you?" Yeah. We do that a lot. So.
Definitely. That's a great relationship.
Yeah. And then now actually I'm proud as could be of this. There's a young man now that's working with him, that's becoming a partner with him, John Gross. I don't know if you guys know
John
him.
Groves? Is that what you said?
Gross.
Gross.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's actually a partner with Dave now, and he started off working for me in the summers when he was in high school. He went to Sarah High School,
Awesome.
and he loved farming, and he would work for me in the summertime, and he was also a fisherman. He loved fishing, but he really loved farming. And Dave came to me one day. He goes, "Do you know any young guys?" He goes, "I'm kind of getting up there. I wouldn't mind hiring a young guy that would be, I says, I got your man." So I
that's
introduced
awesome.
him to John, and it's been a good thing for
That's
Dave.
really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
How long has John been working for Dave?
Oh gosh, it's probably 8 years, 9 years. I don't know. It's been a while. Yeah.
That's awesome. That means we can plan on seeing the artichokes by the airport for a long time.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, for sure.
That's really awesome.
I love how they still do. I feel like it's almost like a display crop, almost like the little narrow pumpkin patch.
Oh yeah. And that's my cousin too. That she is that she does the pumpkin patch there. Linda.
That's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's a small community. We're all.
Everybody relies on one another.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Well, you recently were honored as Farmer of the Year.
Well,
Was that this year or last year?
Oh no, that was
a couple years back.
2011.
2011. I thought it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was reading the article. I thought it was like last
But I'll
year.
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Farmer of the Year in our
thank
eyes.
you.
either way, it's timeless. What does that type of recognition mean to you?
Yeah, it was an honor. I got to say that, to be recognized. I was blown away. Yeah, and the way they do it is they don't tell you, and they kind of got me to go to the farm day luncheon. I was real busy, and said, "Oh no, you got to go." And my wife, "No, let's go to it." And I had no clue.
Did she
all
know?
of a sudden,
Did your wife?
she knew. Yeah.
Nice.
So, and then all of a sudden, my kids were there. They didn't come out until after they announced it. But that was a big honor for me.
Yeah, I should have known that was 2011 too, because I was looking at the photo and I was like, Luca looks really young for to be last year.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you know what goes into the decision of Farmer of the Year?
You know what? I've never been privy to that.
Yeah.
But there's the Chamber of Commerce, and they've got a committee there, and they they talk about it, and
And this is all through the San Mateo County Farm Bureau.
I think they play a part. Cause I was honored by them too, but as Farmer of the Year. Actually, there was two different organizations. I think came a couple of years later.
Awesome.
I got honored by the Farm Bureau, but they probably have people on the committee too that recommend names and that. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Want to get your business in front of a loyal local audience? Between Shifts brings coastside stories to life with real conversations, local legends, and plenty of laughs. Sponsorships include custom ad reads, shout-outs in episodes, and visibility across all our socials, all designed to connect your brand with engaged listeners who support local. Now please email betweenshiftspod@gmail.com for any inquiries. Thank you. This is kind of just me being curious, but do you ever see turkeys on your property?
Yes. Yeah.
Really?
I do occasionally. But yeah, I remember the first time I seen them, I was just blown away. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then now I do occasionally see them. I was worried that they were going to, cause problems with the crop, but they don't seem to be vegetarian. I don't know if they eat. Somebody said they eat the snails and stuff, so maybe they help us. I don't know.
Yeah. When you see those, are those in the canyon or are those out kind of coastal?
I've seen them at both. I've seen them on the coastal ranch.
Wow.
Around my buildings, actually. And then I've seen them in the Higgins. The first time I seen them was in Higgins Canyon, the field we have beyond our barns there.
Yeah. That's where I would assume
along the creek.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about in the canyon.
Yeah, we used to see them. That's probably where I see them the most.
Yeah. Okay, I'm curious because I've been working in Purisma quite a bit on Brian Falvey's job.
Yeah.
So I've been driving past your property for a while.
Yeah.
I saw your big stack of hay, and then I saw the stack of hay slowly get. I think it's your property.
I don't think so.
No? How far into the canyon do you go back there?
Oh, I know exactly what you're. Okay, so it is my property, but I rent it to Marsh.
Okay.
Bobby Marsh.
Yeah.
And so that's that.
So is there a bridge across the creek back there? I'm like, how the fuck is this truck getting?
there's a gully there, and you got to drive through it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's no bridge or pipe or anything to drive over. It should have something, but it's kind of sketchy.
I was amazed. I was watching these guys. I was like, how are they?
In the wintertime, it's not drivable, but in this time of the year, you can. Yeah.
I don't know. I reassess every couple of years what a life goal is. A life goal of mine is to own some property in that canyon because the weather is insane.
Yeah,
you'll leave.
I agree.
Yeah,
that canyon's beautiful.
And I don't want to say that too loudly because I don't want people with money to go buy up all the But no, working there, I'll be driving through town. It'll be foggy. It'll be like 60 degrees. And then I'll get back there. And throughout the day, it's like 75, 80 and sunny.
Yeah, that's a beautiful canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
This is, we're not putting this in.
Yeah, no.
No, but I'm just curious because I heard rumors about being able to catch trout in the Purisma Creek there.
Oh, yeah.
Like kind of right behind the Johnson house. There's a solid pool there.
In that creek. Yeah. Yeah. They, back in the day when we used to have these dams that we would close and they would turn to like lakes back there. And what happened was that the steelhead would come in the wintertime, we would have the dams open. So the steelhead would come in, lay their eggs, and then the little fry would be in there. We'd close the dam and make these lakes, and they would grow into trout-sized fish. And every now and then, one of the steelhead would get caught back there, and you'd hook a steelhead, and the thing was like 3 feet long.
That's awesome.
In these dams.
Yeah.
But it was loaded with the trout. The steelhead. They were like a rainbow trout.
Yeah.
And so we would catch those back in the day, but Fish and Game shut us down from using those dams, and I think it was a mistake because the creek it's not a real strong a Royal Leon Creek.
It was kind of like incubating them almost.
Yeah, and in the summertime it'll sometimes it goes dry.
Yeah. So
that it's not a real good. And I think when they put those in, they put them in around 1910 to 1920. There's 2 dams, and they knew about the steelhead. There was permits going on, and that's why they made them where we had to open them. And that was one of the things we had to open them by October, and then we could close them, say after all the rainy season, like in April.
So there's even
So,
still the
so it would allow for the migration of the steelhead to go up and out. And then when we closed them, it created this great habitat to raise so it was kind of a factory for these fish. And I think Fish and Game really missed the boat when they stopped us from doing it. There's still fish there, but there's not a great population.
These are the dams right off of Verde Road on the bridge.
No, these are the ones on Higgins on the Arroyo Leon.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, Verde Road. The steelhead can't come up that because there's a waterfall right at so the steelhead can't get up that creek.
that waterfall is pretty awesome.
Yeah, there are trout in there, and I don't know if they were planted. Somebody told me, I heard the rumors that when the railroad, they had the Ocean Shore Railroad, that they were like trying to get business for their railroad. And they were telling people that they had trout fishing from San Francisco to come up there, and they would plan it.
Okay.
'Cause I always heard when I was a kid there was German Browns in there. And they would plan. I've never seen one, but
My grandpa Joe Garcia, Frank's dad.
Oh yeah,
he loves telling the story about what's the creek coming down 92? I should know that.
Pilocitas.
Pilocitas, yeah. He loves to tell a story of him and Leo Mudridge going out with pitchforks.
Oh yeah,
able to get steelheads.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah, for sure.
That's like Ronnie Beck's grandparents.
Yeah.
On
and San Gregorio.
And Sanji on the creek there, and talking about gill nets back in the day.
Oh yeah,
You know,
well, I remember a little bit of that too. The pitchforks and the steelhead and all that, and they're just not here anymore.
It's crazy. Do you think that has something to do with the water levels?
I'm not sure.
I look at Jimmy's Creek, and I'm like looking at him like that doesn't seem like it's deep enough for them to even want to.
Yeah, that was a good steelhead creek. There was always
in Pilocitos there.
Yeah,
there's in some spots there's real little fish.
Yeah,
but like bigger than just the little ones that you kind of disregard.
Yeah,
that's about it. Yeah. Anyways, we'll get back into this.
Okay,
back into actual stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So we've seen you So we've seen you and the farm featured on Sesame Street with Cookie Monster and Gonger. How did that even happen?
Yeah.
And I mean,
crazy.
what was it like? What was it like?
Yeah, I just, one day I was at the farm and I got a phone call on my cell phone, and somebody's asking me, he says, we want to do a film about the Brussels sprout harvest. Would you be interested in doing that? And yeah, all right, I guess so, and so they asked me some questions. I forgot exactly. This is like 2017. They were asked me some questions about it, and they did not say anything about Sesame Street. They just said it was a film for the Brussels sprout harvest. It's, I guess I'll could do it one day. So I didn't hear back from them for about a month. And they called me back and they said, "Do you remember us? We called you." And oh yeah, I remember. And they said, "Actually, we want to do it for Sesame Street." And I thought, wow, Sesame Street. Okay. And so I wasn't too blown away by it. I says, "Okay, I'm interested." And they set up a date for me and all that. And they came out and the people were just fantastic. It was a husband and wife, and they did the filming of it, and they were really professional, really good. Matter of fact, they said, "Hey, we're going to do a clip for you to put on, if you want to put it on Facebook, about your farm." And they did like a little film clip about me. I'm not sure if it's I don't have Facebook, so
that's awesome.
I think it got posted to Facebook.
But they gave you some free content.
Yeah, free content.
Yeah.
And they were really good. And when it came out on Sesame Street, I did not realize it, but it just, everybody went crazy for it. They went nuts. Yeah. And I thought, but yeah, I guess this is the big time. So it was really an honor, and it is to this day. I mean, I tell people, and the little kids come up to me and say, "Well, you met the Cookie Monster." It's really cool. It's one of the one of the thrills, I got to say, of my career that I was able to do that. And I got people from, I got relatives in Chicago that call them, oh, we seen you on Sesame Street. So I was like, oh, you don't really think about it at the time, but it was really a cool thing.
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, another transition here, but so was Jacob's science fair project? Was that his 8th grade Cunha science fair project?
That was about the time of that I had the Farmer of the Year award.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was around that time.
You guys were innovating at this time for sure.
Yeah, we had a good year that year.
Yeah.
But it was something he wanted to do some, and he proposed it to his teacher in the 8th grade. He wanted to do something with a basketball hoop or something like that, and the teacher rejected it. So he came home, he was all down and everything. And I said, hey, Jacob, we've been having this issue on the farm. And I go, I've been thinking about trying to put different, what's the right word? To treating the Brussels sprouts so they don't because we're having a problem with oxidation on the end. It's kind of like the same thing was when you cut an apple and it turns brown.
Yeah.
Well, we have their small Brussels sprouts. When you cut them, the stems turn brown and they don't look appealing. So there's certain things we can apply to the Brussels sprouts so that won't happen. And so I said, let's try to do different things and we'll see if we can come up with something. So he kind of went along with it, and he did it. We did these every week. We'd do an observation, and we wrote it down, and we had a check, and we had about 3 different. We sprayed them with chlorine. One we sprayed them with citric acid. One we sprayed them with citric acid and ascorbic acid.
Yeah,
and so he did that, and we did a 4-week observation, and some of them held up after 4 weeks. They still look pretty good. We put them in the refrigerator at home. We had them in the refrigerator.
Yeah.
So anyway, in the end, he gets a first place. He got a blue ribbon at the Half Moon Bay.
Yeah.
Which entered him into the San Mateo County Science Fair. He went to San Mateo County Fair. He got a blue ribbon in that one, which entered him into the Bay Area Science Fair. So we're there at the science fair, and I got a phone call and said, you need to come to the science fair. Your son won an award.
Wow.
So they're going through, and they give me, okay, this is the 3rd place awards, and they gave her the 3rd place awards, 2nd place awards, give everybody, and we're sitting there, and his teacher kind of upset me. She came up to me. She goes, did you get an invitation for this? And I said, yeah, they told us to come. So she didn't believe.
Oh,
he got first place in the science fair.
Yeah.
So
That's so
cool. Yeah. So it was something. So he actually qualified to go to the state science fair, but we had a trip to Italy planned, so we couldn't do the state.
Oh, could have just kept going up.
He was kind of overwhelmed by that point. He was the newspaper was calling him up. And one thing that was really cool, he got an invitation, and I was all over this. He got an invitation to the USDA labs, in Albany, you're in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
But and so we got to go to the USDA labs, and I mean, these people that were grading the science fair, it started off, there was teachers and that, and then it was business people. Well, the Bay Area Science Fair, it was like PhDs from Chevron Corporation. I mean, these people were smart people.
Yeah.
And then the USDA labs, and then we got a tour of that. That was really, really, really interesting.
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah. And they told him, but he was only an 8th grader at the time, says, if you want a job here, we'll give you a job over the summer. You can get a summer job here. We're looking for young, bright minds. Yeah. But it was logistically, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Well,
but
funny enough,
really cool.
He beat my brother for first place.
Oh, you're kidding.
At the Cunha Science Fair.
Oh, you're kidding.
I know. I'm pretty sure, they both graduated in 2015?
Yeah, I think
High
so.
School?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I remember because my brother and I both got 2nd place.
Oh, you're
Cunha
kidding.
Science Fair.
Yeah.
My brother's was like, what was it? He was super into fishing at the time, and so he did like fishing line tensile strength
Oh.
before and after UV exposure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Jacob beat him out.
Wow.
And then Luca beat you, huh? I'm just kidding.
I can't remember.
My science fair project was seeing which gas would make a football go further. I stole nitrous. Well, I stole it. My dad helped me get nitrous out of his hot rod because it has a single shot of nitrous.
Yeah.
So we took nitrous from that, put it in a football.
Oh, really?
And then we did CO2 and hydrogen. And,
No helium?
and helium, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But helium, surprisingly, was not
How about
the best.
Flubber? Did you see that movie?
No.
That was kind of the premise of that movie, that they put this gas in there and the guy was kicking.
Yeah.
That's smart, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'd tell people nitrogen. If you want to kick a long field goal.
Oh, nitrogen?
Go nitrogen,
Okay.
yeah.
Nice.
I think they're putting it in the footballs now. These guys don't.
Yes, it's
60
insane.
yards. Yeah.
Just everybody except Moody's football.
Oh, yeah. Moody, I didn't get. Yeah.
So, going back into your property, you have that west side of Highway 1 by Cowell Ranch, and there's big plans for the Coastal Trail to come through there and make it all the way to Tenedas Creek, like Tenedas Beach. How does that affect you? Is that taking out farming land? What's going on?
Not really. A matter of fact, it goes through most of my property now already.
Yeah.
So it works out fine. It's they're right on the edge of the bluff there, and there's a good fence which helps. And to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy talking to the people. The people come by and everybody's curious about the farm and what we're doing.
Yeah.
And, so it works out good. It's a good
awesome. And you guys can put free advertisement on your fence as people ride their bike.
Yeah, I guess so. I haven't thought of that yet. But
Yeah. That's such a good outlook, John. Totally expecting you to be like, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
No, you know what? No, I expected it to be a problem, and it really wasn't. It's been good. It's been a good.
Everybody respects the land.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. Everybody respects it, and the people. I've really have not had any issues with anybody. Everybody's really pleasant and nice. Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah,
and out there too. I mean, you got to be working to get out there on the coastal trail.
Yeah.
Unless you park on the edge of the golf course by the.
It's a walk. By the time you get to my ranch, you're 2 miles in anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The question I've always wanted to ask you, John. We asked Eddie.
Gavin and I love prohibition.
Yeah, we love prohibition eras.
Just
Just because there's so much history in town with that.
Yeah.
But I guess the question, we kind of led into it.
Yeah.
Did your family have any fun doings during the prohibition?
I think a little bit. My father, he grew up in Princeton, and he used to talk about that. He was born in the 20s, and kind of in the middle of the prohibition, and he would tell me about the farmers that he said nobody was making any money in the Depression after 1930, 1929. He said the way a lot of guys would make money is they would rent their pump houses out, and the bootleggers would stash all their goods there before they could run them up to San Francisco or wherever they were doing. So there was a lot of that. They were hiding out things. And my father told the story because he was a real little kid, and he says one day he went and visited his father in the barn there where his father was cooking breakfast. And he looks up in the rafters and goes, there's this beautiful big boat up in the rafters, And he looks at it and goes, hey, Dad, what's that boat? He goes, oh, it washed up on the beach. Washed up. He goes, years later, I thought about it. That boat didn't wash up on the beach. They would take these boats, I think, and they would row out the ocean. They would meet a ship out there from Canada or whatever, and they would offload the...
Yeah.
You said in the harbor is where you're...
And my father grew up in Princeton,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's in the hot spot, right?
Yeah. It was kind of a hot spot there.
Yeah.
So, I used to hear stories about that. Yeah.
We love, like most people that come on that have
older family just like in town, we tend to ask that question.
Yeah.
So it's
that was part of the economy back in the day.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was I was so surprised. I was like, because I mean, we should know this, but I looked up the dates as to how long the prohibition was, and it was like 1922 to 1930, I think, something like that. I was like,
yeah,
fucking,
32.
I thought it was, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought it was like 2 years, and I'm like, these people went that long without, And then we were listening to, we went on a road trip and we just listened to a Prohibition podcast.
Oh, yeah.
But they're talking about how the government made it legal so that right before, they gave you the date when the Prohibition was going to be
starting.
Starting. And if you bought, no matter how much alcohol you bought before that date, as long as you could show receipts for that date of purchasing the alcohol and you had it stored at your property, you were fine.
Okay.
So people were just buying like literal boatloads of alcohol.
Like if you were rich, you could just have a huge store and you could make it through Prohibition legally, you know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy times.
And it's funny too, because like, I don't know, maybe one day we'll do a little piece on Prohibition era in Half Moon Bay. That would be fun.
That would be fun. Find some experts.
Yeah, and just talk to old school families that have good stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because it really is something that we can all talk about nowadays. Nobody's gonna.
Right.
But super interested in that.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff too. Yeah. My father had a lot of stories, but about that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially on farmland. I'm sure people were running stuff through.
Bootleggers,
That was something Eddie told us was that artichoke farmers got kind of taken advantage of at one point in time because bootleggers owed money to somebody and they started to realize that the artichokes were bringing in a good amount of money.
Yeah.
So they took over artichoke fields.
That's like how artichokes first made it to the East Coast, I believe.
There was, and then the story was because there was a shootout here. They sent some goons or whatever from the mafia.
Yeah.
I guess some of these farmers didn't want to send the artichokes back east because they weren't getting enough money for them, and they tried to, cut up their plants and everything else. And some farmers took some shots at them, and there's stories about that out there if you look them up.
Oh, okay,
There was that was a big item back in those days, the artichoke, and when my grandfather came here in the 1920s, I mean, you picture all of Princeton area where the airport is, where the Leia's farm, it was all artichoke, solid artichoke fields.
Yeah.
That was the king crop on the coast in those 20s and all that.
They keep pretty well once you harvest them, huh?
Yeah. And they would ship them back to New York. And then when the Depression, they were making money, but then the Depression hit, and they was my father said his father would get a bill instead of getting paid for his crop, he'd get a bill for freight. So that's what farming was tough. Well, life in general was tough, but
yeah, definitely.
So these people.
So, how important is it to you that your children have become involved in the family business?
I'm really happy about it. They're going to keep the tradition alive, and it's not an easy life, but I think it's like my dad told me, it's a good life, and here I am, kind of towards the end of my career, and I think the same thing. In the end, it's a good life. It's a good way of life. I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm happy for it.
Yeah, I'm sure you had the days though where you were like, I don't want to do this today.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So
sound a lot like my dad. I've been like, just at this point in life, you're just looking at stuff for career, whatnot. I'm lucky I fell into the hands of Jimmy, and he's kind of showing me the ropes with landscaping. But I was talking to my dad, and he's like, for my whole life, he's complained about plumbing. He's hated being a plumber.
Yeah.
But now he's on the tail end of it, getting ready for retirement, and he's like, it's a pretty good route. And I'm like, But it is. Yeah. It is a really good route.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's good. Hey, there's never going to be a shortage of work for
anything with your hands.
Yeah,
anything with your hands. There's never going to be a shortage.
I know.
AI can't replace that.
Nope.
Yeah. So that's why. That's my kids too. That's what I think. Everybody's going to need to eat. You can't really.
definitely.
That day you always heard you're going to just take a pill and you're not going to have to eat anything. Well, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's probably going to be Brussels sprouts in that pill.
Yeah, you're right.
Seriously. Yeah.
Probably going to need a lot of Brussels sprouts.
Well, you recently purchased Prisma Farms back from Post, securing over 500 acres for future generations. What does it mean to you to keep that land and farming for your kids and grandchildren and anybody else who's really interested in getting into farming, I guess?
Yeah.
And I'm also curious about just the idea of buying land back from Post.
Yes.
Is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It like never happens.
Yeah.
But he was introduced to it with his father with the property there on the water side too.
So Post has been, a great landlord. I got to say they've been really, if it wasn't for them, it would be tough around here for being able to keep going. They've really been supportive of agriculture. And I think they've seen what, we've done, our family, and how, and they've kind of bought in with us, and they've given us the opportunity to buy the land at a reasonable price, not for free, but given us a reasonable price that we can afford to buy the land. And, I'm thrilled. And I think that gives my kids a good opportunity for the future of farming here. And they've got a good piece of land I can teach them how to farm it and all that. So I'm really, really excited for them in the future. And like I say, Post has really been supportive of agriculture. I can't say enough about, they've been part of the equation. So
it's really cool. Really funny hearing you talk about this now after just hearing your story. Sounds like a full circle moment here. Your dad got the land from Post on the ocean side over there on Highway 1, and now you just got land, and your kids are looking to take over part of the operation as well. So that's really cool.
And do you know a whole lot about the whole UC Elkis operation? Because that's just a little bit further south.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know exactly. I know the property and all that. Yeah, but I know a little bit about it. I can't say I know. I'm not an expert about it, but
that is UC University of
California. Yes,
and so that is where
it was donated to the University of California, and they do kind of agricultural training and stuff, and they bring the youth in and do camps and that with the younger people, and So I know a little bit about it. Yeah.
Well, I want to preface this question with just saying thank you for, growing up here. I love to just drive by your farm. It's really cool because you go anywhere else and you're driving past, just whether that be just a bunch of weeds in a field or it's housing and whatnot. Really enjoy watching and just driving by your farm and knowing that you guys are out there providing for your family. It's really cool. And I'm also curious what you think farming on the coast side will look like in 20 years.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I think I like to think that our farm adds a little bit of character to the coast side here. It gives, you feel like you're in a rural area when you see the farming going on and all. And it's right in the middle of town, actually, the one ranch. So I think it adds to the character of the coast side.
Not to cut you off, but it's like you guys, a lot of the local farmers, but a lot of people in town take a lot of pride in what you do outside of what you do. Like if you see Giusti Farms on the packaging somewhere in a store, you're like, hell yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. I think you're a lot more backed than what you might think, which is really, really cool.
And even just from the fact of people that may have moved here recently and they love the fact that they drive past farms, they don't know you, they don't know, but it's like they appreciate that it's there.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. So, yeah. But in 20 years from now, I hope to say, hopefully we're still growing Brussels sprouts. And, I think there might be more components of people being on the farm, maybe some, farm stand or farm to table things, doing more with the community.
Yeah.
And but it'll look different because I've seen changes since the farming doesn't look the same as it does when I started. And but I think we'll still be here. There'll still be a strong presence here. But it's that's going to be up to my kids for that.
Yeah. Well, they should still be here.
Yeah.
They just got 500 more acres. Here we go.
Hopefully, I'm in the background there still tutoring them. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, looking ahead, what kind of legacy do you hope to leave? But not just for your family, but for the coastside community that has always been so closely tied to farming.
Yeah. So, we're one of the longtime farms here on the coast, and it's really nice that people know who we are and know our name, and that's why I like the farmers market, having my family out doing the farmers market, so people can get to know who we are, and I just want to be known for a legacy of farming on the coastside. And I think back of my grandfather that came here in 1922, and he's long gone, but hopefully he can be looking down at us and thinking, that kid, he kept it going. And so hopefully my kids will be the same thing. They'll keep it going. And
that's really special.
So,
it's really cool. Well, thank you very much for taking time to just come talk to us and let us pick your mind and hear your story. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you guys are great.
I love this one.
And
nice.
You can find John at Giusti Farms. I believe you guys are on Instagram. Giusti Farms on Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
Go to the farmer's market, buy some Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Every Saturday, right over here. What is it?
At the Coastside Farmers Market, where the caboose is at.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saturday, right behind us.
Shoreline
You'll
Station.
figure it out.
Right next to Dad's Luncheonette. Just go past
it.
Yeah. There we go. Awesome. Well, thank you, John.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
And we're back. Welcome back. This is going to be the recap for John Giusti's episode. And I'm going to refrain myself from saying, what a guy. We're just going to say,
I just,
how inviting.
Yeah. I absolutely love that episode. Just from a standpoint of, especially the fact we haven't had anybody agricultural space from the coastside on the show before.
Yeah.
And insanely cool. Yeah. Not only him growing up, being pushed to go to school, and then applying that to running the farm, and then running the farm, being so successful at it. Mm-hmm. Sesame Street cameo is absolutely crazy.
And he had no idea.
Absolutely.
It's so
crazy. Funny. and then, now his kids, which are our age, Jacob and Luca, them stepping forward and taking, not yet, but getting ready to take that place and turn it into a fourth generation farm.
Well, and also his daughter, I'm sorry, I don't know her name, but his daughter's also interested in helping with the farm and helping run the farm and is doing farmers markets and whatnot. And that's super cool. And just to talk to him, like, you guys can tell David and I are kind of geeks with Prohibition era stuff in town, but just to talk to him and just to investigate the theory with an old school family in Half Moon Bay. Every single family has a story from the Prohibition era, and it's so interesting.
It's where the money was, and they had land and privacy.
Yeah.
So it's just it goes together.
And I kind of I'm scared to kind of put this out there, but we really should do like an investigative thing and just get stories jotted down from people that we interview for Prohibition era stuff. And we should do like the podcast that we listen to on the car ride, like do a little research and just give a story to the people.
Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun. Because I'm sure you start talking to more and more people, there's going to be a big player, somebody in town that people obviously know.
May or may not still be around.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's unfortunately the people that were there for eyewitness accounts of that are not really here.
They're dwindling out. Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
Yeah, sorry, but back to John Giusti. just like the farming aspect, and we kind of got into it with him about how it's one of those businesses on the coast side where you drive past it and you take a lot of pride in it, not even knowing the day-to-day operations, not knowing what goes on behind closed doors, whatever. But we all know that if that farm were to just turn into some sort of development or just a bare field even, it would not be the same. Like the Giusti's property makes up a lot of what we know Half Moon Bay as people. And it was really cool to just have him on, pick his brain, get his story, get the family story, because that was another cool topic. I was listening to Eddie Andrini's podcast just to get clips for our Instagram, whatever. But I listened to the part where he's talking about how there's a handful of Italian families in town that are from a 10-mile radius around Lucca, Italy. And it was so cool. I was like, I got to ask John about that.
Yeah.
Got to ask John about that. And John just was like, oh, yeah. Like, I had no idea there's a wall around Lucca, Italy. I've never been over there.
I honestly, probably one of the things I was most surprised by was the fact that, for one, I thought his perspective on post would be different. Just, not that he would not get along with them, but just the fact that, they buy up a lot of land, and it's all the land that they buy up is for the most part old agricultural land. And his take on that whole process was really cool. And then also the coastal trail. Like I thought he was going to have this,
I thought that one, I read when you sent me that question, I was like, oh dude, he's not gonna.
I know. I thought it was going to be like, man, people coming onto my property. Like, I hate that. It's super cool to see how just relaxed he was with that as an idea in general.
Well, he enjoys the conversation.
Yeah.
He loves the fact that, like, I don't know, you got to think into his mind too. Like, farming is sadly becoming less and less of an occupation for people to get into nowadays.
Yes.
Sadly. But the more people he's able to talk to around his field on the coastal trail, he probably takes a sense of pride in knowing that, like, he's introducing them to farming. Well, and they, for some, like one out of the 15, 20 people that he talks to on the coastal trail, maybe they get into farming.
And how cool for just some random person going, let's just say they're like 1%ers staying at the Ritz, and they go for a walk on the coastal trail. They walk south towards Cowell, and they come across John on their walk, and he's just the nicest, like, salt of the earth farmer.
Yeah.
And like, I just think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed being able to connect the dots of just the full circle from when he was in college at USF, and his dad's like, you sure you want to do farming? And then he's like, okay, well, I got this acreage, at least this from Post over here.
So you're going to do it.
Yeah. He's like, so you're kind of stepping into that.
Yeah.
And then the sooner, like, obviously they bought the land, and then you get into the story deeper with the Giusti family, and then you get to where they are now. John just bought land back from Post, which it's just like it's the same thing, which is super cool. And he's like, yeah, we got 500 acres and we're going to farm it. And, talking to him, he's like, he's at the point in life where his children are starting to kind of take on more of probably the day-to-day aspects of the business. And it's cool to just see him kind of in his dad's shoes, getting ready to kind of pass that on to his family.
Definitely.
It's pretty cool. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really fun episode.
Yeah.
Really fun episode. And it's nerve-wracking bringing a podcast, it's nerve-wracking bringing in a farmer around all the podcast equipment, because we take like 5-10 minutes getting everything set up, from the headphones to the microphone being in front of them to a camera pointed in their face. And you're like, okay, yeah, we're just going to talk for a little bit, get used to it. But he just nailed it. And it was awesome.
He was a natural.
He exceeded our expectations, and that was a lot of fun. So Thank you, John. Thank you guys for listening. Yeah, we're the Between Shifts podcast. See ya. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Once again, we're brought to you by BikeWorks HMB, your one-stop shop for bike service, sales, and rentals in Half Moon Bay, California. Whether you're on the mountain, road, or low on battery,
Bikeworks HMB has your back. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help support this podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at betweenshiftspod@gmail.com. The link will be in the description. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. GT signing off.